All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Who says that? Who's a famous actor who says that? All right, all right, all right, all right. And welcome back to Seminoles Sideline 365. You've got Bruce here, and you've got KB out on the road. In fact, we're both out on the road. I'm down in Tampa, Florida. The last several days, you can see I got the Tampa Bay Rays hat on here. In fact, going to see the Rays versus the Red Sox this weekend in a big series, and then going to Amalie Arena next, I think it's Tuesday night, to see the Lightning play some hockey. So busy down here in Tampa. My co-host, the infamous KB, is out of town. He's out in Portugal. In fact, he's flying back to the US of A today. KB has been out on a 7-day vacation, his first visit to Lisbon, Portugal, which to me looks like a great place, and I hope to get there very soon. So I'm going to be hosting our show today by myself, so I'll be missing KB. So I want to first say thanks for joining us to our subscribers, and if this is your first tour with us, first tour of duty, so to speak, please hit that like and subscribe button. Give us a chance. We're a different type of show. We take a fan perspective on the show. We love your comments. You can send us direct mail. You can comment on the site here. Now, this is being recorded prior to being aired, so this won't be a live recording when you see it at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm recording it in the afternoon. But today, our topic is going to be Mims, and it's more about other things than Mims himself. It's going to be Mims, what went wrong, what went right, if anything, and is there someone to be blamed for not landing this player, this transfer player onto the Florida State campus beyond landing him for a visit, despite what some of our, quote, nationally accredited outlets said they were going to get him signed. So we're going to be exploring that a little bit before I go into that today, because there is a lot to discuss. I want to first thank our sponsor, Coasties on the Move. You can see them right down there now coming across the crawler. That's Coasties on the Move. They are a real estate company focused on getting military members, Coast Guard members, other military service members from across the country moved into new areas. Our military members who we salute out there are constantly on the move. So if you're up for a move, give Coasties on the Move. They understand the military, and they'll give you a 5-star service. Okay, let's break right into the topic itself. Now, first of all, I have to be honest with you. I've been watching a lot of the Johnny Depp trial. Johnny Depp versus his ex-wife, Amber Heard. It's being played out in Northern Virginia in a courtroom. It's a defamation case brought by Depp against the ex-wife, and then she countersued for $100 million. It's a mess, but it's being aired out. So I don't know what's more exciting. Is the Depp trial more exciting than the Mims trial? I guess we could say we're both kind of trials under fire, and they both end up very messy. If you watch the Depp trial, it's very messy, lots of details. The Mims trial, messy with lots of details, and the finger, the blame game, the finger. Who should be, or maybe not, should there be blame assigned here in the Mims case? So let's drop Johnny Depp. You can watch that on live court TV. It's on some of the other channels, but you can catch up on court TV. They replay it all the time, the really juicy parts. But let's go to Mims. Let's not talk about Mims. Okay, we know Mims was a beast of a man. I mean, he is projected by everyone to be the next great Superman, offensive lineman, offensive tackle, and certainly a guy that Florida State wanted, and they wanted him bad. They wanted him as bad as they did Travis Hunter, who also was elusive and got away. So the key to me is really not that they lost Mims, which they did, after some of the FSU outlets, media outlets, one in particular, probably the number one media outlet in Tallahassee, said he was going to be signed and landed. And to this day, they basically are making apologies, but also saying their information was solid and good. He got away. He took his name out of the portal after an official visit here in Tallahassee, which I think it was around the 15th of April, 14th or 15th, about a week or several days ago. He came in on a Wednesday and basically left late on a Friday. I mean, he had a full visit. Or was that Saturday when he left? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the dates are. This isn't a trial. This isn't timelines. But he came in, had a full visit, and got the full red carpet treatment. I mean, it was treatment that I have never, ever seen before. And that's why I say that for Florida State, this was a changing of the environment in terms of recruitment, be it transfer portal or be it high school recruitment. Mims was the test case. Mims was the experiment. So Mims arrives on a Wednesday. I saw a video. Florida State, I think they wanted to keep the media down on this, but they allowed certain media sources out there to record it and then put it out. So Mims drives up. He's got family members. They meet outside the hotel. Coach Mike Norvell is there. Coach Atkins is there. The music is blaring. The FSU fight song is blaring from speakers, which I am told came from an SUV that was sitting there right outside the hotel doors. Mims gets out. He's got a wife, what we call an Italian T-shirt on. Some people call it a wife beater, whatever you want to call it. And there's no jokes there. He gets out. He's greeted instantly by a very elated, very happy Coach Norvell, giving him the old solid handshake, almost jumping up and down. Coach Atkins comes over, greets him. They're greeting the family. And that's what we see as the beginning of the visit. And what was hoped to be the celebration of bringing in this 6'7", 330-pound tackle to provide that ultimate guard for quarterback Jordan Travis. That's how it started. So the visit started on a Wednesday. It continued into the evening. I have no clue where they went to dinner, and I don't really care, but I assume it was pretty good. I assume it wasn't down on West Tennessee Street at McDonald's. I'm assuming it was pretty first class. The meetings went into Thursday, tours on campus, Thursday, Friday, and they had a good visit from what we're hearing. But on that day, on Wednesday, if my recollection is correct, the media, one particular media channel here, which you all know who it is at this point. I don't need to mention them by name. I'm not here to turn the screws on anybody. We don't want to do that. But what came out was they did some breaking news. They broke news on their channels, and they written an article that said he was as good as signed to the Seminoles. So everybody is feeling elated because we need some good news. We need some good news on this team. So signed, though, is questionable with transfer because you have to be enrolled. You have to be enrolled in school to really make it official. And so there was no enrollment. And in fact, there was no announcement made by Mims himself about this. In fact, when other outlets went out and asked Mims during his time in Tallahassee, he denied that he had officially declared Florida State to be his next home. So there was a lot of stuff stirring around Tallahassee during those 3 days last week. So now that we know that everybody felt the visit went well and that Mims was also considering or was said to be considering visits to Miami. There was a lot of chatter out of the University of Miami that he was going to end up down there for an official visit. And there was also rumors that he was going on to other schools like Ohio State. He was not going to any SEC schools because he had missed the deadline of potentially transferring to one of them without having to sit out an entire year, which he doesn't want to do in his development period, obviously. This guy wants to go to the league. But these were the rumors swirling around. But when he left Tallahassee, there was no declaration that he was selecting Tallahassee, selecting the Seminoles as his next home. He went back to Georgia, his home state. He went back with his family. It was Easter coming up. He was going to spend that time with his family. And then I have learned that there was a family tragedy. I don't know what the details are, and it's not really relevant here. But he went back and he started hearing from some of his teammates, and everything started to evolve. And then earlier this week, in fact, KB let me know from his vacation in Portugal that he had left the portal and was going back to the University of Georgia to play football. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's it in a nutshell from a fan perspective. Now, we can sit down here and slice and dice it all, but we really don't need to do that. He's not playing football here. I think what struck me about this whole thing was the beginning, the first night when he arrived. Because now what we're talking about, and you'll hear me say this a lot, I can't speak for KB, but I'm going to say for each kid now, let's say he's a 4 or 5-star high school recruit or future transfers from the portal, you've established a very high bar for players that you're recruiting to come into your program. You rolled out the best brand new red carpet you could have for a guy, and that was the Mims effect, the Mims treatment. Should we expect now that the coaching staff will roll out the Mims red carpet for everybody? Should the recruit feel that way? Would a recruit feel disrespected after seeing all of the sites he saw on Florida State media channels? Should they expect this sort of red carpet? Do they expect that to be the standard? Do they expect more than that? Do they expect a gold carpet type treatment? How can we expect these recruits to react once you've established this bar so high with the Mims treatment package? That is going to be something for the coaching staff and Coach Norvell to have to play through. on how does he handle this on the very next player that they bring to this campus. The thing that I would recommend is after this entire Mims episode, that the entire FSU football staff sit down, take a day off, conference together with all your player development specialists that you have on the staff, recruitment specialists, head of recruiting, all the names, all the titles. Sit down and do a post-review action on what we did on Mims, why did we do it, what lessons did we learn from this. That's going to be important moving forward as you establish the bar for each person you bring in. If you recruit another 3-star offensive lineman, which a lot of them are coming out of high school, what do you treat him as versus a 5-star skilled player, quarterback who's coming in? Are they treated differently from, let's call it the 15th of April, I guess, when Mims was in? From the 15th of April, 2022, what is that foundation going to look like? What is that package going to look like when you bring these young kids, young players into your facility? When Mims came into the facility, the doors flew open. Coach Norvell was there, opened the doors. All the staff were lining the hallways, clapping it up. High fives. You know, it was like the inauguration of a new king. A Superman had arrived, which would then disappoint so many people a few days later. So I guess my whole point is the bar that we have set now is so high, we're going to disappoint some people. But this is something that's very important to talk about. Now, what was NIL's factor in all this? The word on the street is the NIL package that was presented. I have no idea what the details are. I'm not sure anybody else does. I've not seen anything on it. We've seen no numbers. We've seen nothing else about it. That's a private matter between the NIL collective, and that was, I'm going to guess that was Rising Spear, that collective, and Mims himself. And unless Mims releases it, it's probably going to be a sealed type of presentation. The question is, what was in that presentation? Did it meet to his satisfaction? There are rumors out there said it did. It wasn't about the NIL, his final decision. And that could be the truth. Who knows? Who knows what the truth is at this point? We don't have any other verified fact about this except that he's not playing football here and he's gone back to the University of Georgia to play. So the NIL was a factor. One of the FSU media outlets has said you can bet, quote, you can bet that he's going to be playing for more money at Georgia than he would have been playing for here. Well, I don't know where they come up with that with. Where do they come up with that information? Is that a generalization on their part? You don't know that. We don't know anything about that. You know, people have to be very careful in what they're sending out as verification. Now, there are many fans upset with the major media site here in Tallahassee that put out that he was going to be signed and delivered that first night that he arrived. They had it pegged. They did breaking news. There are people who blame that site and blame the couple of reporters, couple of talking heads and reporters on their site for squashing the whole deal because they put out this information. I don't believe that to be true. I don't think that's true at all. He's not going to make his decision based on what some talking heads in media say. But people have to be careful in putting out what they think is going to be fact when it isn't, when it's totally not there yet. That site claims that they had solid information. To this date, they're still claiming, despite their apologies and their spin arounds, they're still claiming that they had solid information saying he was locked in. Well, I would say you better get a new source. You better find a new source. And Mike Norvell, Coach Norvell, if you didn't want such information out there, you better look at the sources that are leaking it out of your organization. Because that could hurt you in the end. So NIL is a factor in all these future cases coming forward, all these future recruitments. I've been reading a massive amount of information across the country about NIL collectives, NFTs, and how all of this is playing in with players. There are deals being assigned where the entire team is going to be getting certain amounts of funds. Nobody's going to be left out because the NIL for players is going to upset some of these locker rooms. You don't think if Mims would have enrolled here and was going into our offensive line room that it's going to upset some of those guys that have been working their tails off for 2 or 3 years here? Now, they have to understand that college football has now turned into a business. It's always been a business, but it's more out in the open now of the business that it is. And you might hear me say often, this is now the AAA, the AAA of NFL football. But there's going to be inequities. There's going to be tiers in the system that benefit some teams and not others. The question is, where will Florida State fall into these tiers? Even though they're a Power 5, is that going to hold up? There'll be Power 5 teams that aren't Tier 1 in terms of NIL deals or in terms of recruitment. There will be different tiers in the Power 5. And we'll talk more about that later someday. But this NIL thing is crazy. And from a fan perspective, I know you probably don't have a lot of time to read about it. We'll try to bring you as much as we can on it without boring you to death. But it is causing a huge amount of splash across the country. And it's going to create real concerns. It's a Wild West show that the NCAA, which we used to know, the ones that assigned Jameis Winston to suspension and to Steve Spurrier calling Florida State Free Shoes University. Those were the old days. That was nothing compared to what's going on today. More facts and figures on that somewhere down the road. But for Florida State, we've got to now, as a staff, really hone in on how we're going to treat these different players that we're bringing in. Failure to do that, failure to learn the lessons from the Mims episode will be a telling sign of what tier we're going to fall under in the Power 5 in the seasons ahead. Because mark my words, if we don't figure out player recruitment and player treatment, we're going to have problems in recruitment. But I have to tell you this. I was aghast of how I saw the red carpet treatment rolled out to one player, Mr. Mims, who has not played more than 100 snaps, probably most of that in mop-up duty at the University of Georgia as a freshman, who has probably a high ceiling of potential, but had not proven his ability at the Power 5 yet, had not broken into the lineup and may not break into the starting lineup at the University of Georgia this coming season. How the red carpet was rolled out, people jumping around like Tom Brady had arrived and could play one more year of college football. Is this the treatment of the future? If I was a head coach, it would likely drive me crazy, and will likely drive some head coaches out of the business of how you have to treat players at all levels today. Thanks for listening in here on the program today. We appreciate your viewership. Play it in the car. You know, you don't have to look at my ugly mug. Play it in the car on the way home. Leave us your comments and thoughts. Throw us a direct message. You're always welcome on this program at any time. We are a fan-based and fan perspective program. We'll see you next week with KB back here in the booth with me. And you can follow us on Twitter as well. This is Bruce for Seminoles Sideline 365. Thanks a lot. You have a great and safe day out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.